everyone, today's video is going to be something I think a little bit different for my channel. It is going to be a food challenge. I am only going to be eating breakfast foods for 24 hours. Don't know if this is a thing that already exists. To be honest, I don't think it's going to be a challenge in the slightest. Basically, yesterday in bed, I was thinking to myself how much I love breakfast and how I would happily eat breakfast foods all day. Then I figured that's what I would do today, and I would film it literally just as an excuse to let myself eat breakfast foods all day. So it's actually already almost 3 o'clock. I've had my first breakfast meal of the day. Chose quite possibly the most boring option there is for breakfast. I had a bowl of fruit and fibre. I woke up pretty late this morning, so I had this at like 10:30, 11ish. I figured I didn't want to make anything too big because then I wouldn't be hungry enough to eat my second breakfast, my lunch. So had a bowl of cereal. Honestly, I've never bought fruit and fibre in my life. My mum actually got this and realised she didn't like it, so she gave it to me. I mean, it's cereal, I'm not going to complain, but it is quite possibly the most boring cereal there is. So we're gonna have to make up for that for the rest of the day and eat some more exciting foods. Honestly, I feel like I could do this challenge quite easily for a week. So if that's something that you guys want to see, I would happily do that, because when I started like writing down all of the breakfast options, there's literally waffles, pancakes, cooked breakfast stuff, cereal, toast, pastries, like the options are endless, and I had such a struggle trying to work out what I wanted to eat today. It is now lunchtime, so I'm going to be making myself some avocado on toast. That is pretty much my weekend breakfast every weekend. Fairly consistently, I'll have kind of like a brunch on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I'll have some avocado on toast with coffee. So that is what I'm going to be making for my lunch, and I will show you guys what it looks like. So this is the bread that I'm going to be using. It is a sourdough loaf that I got delivered a couple of days ago from a place called Milk and More. Not sponsored or anything like that, but I saw on someone else's Instagram that you can get £5 off your first shop and there's no minimum spend. So I got a £5 delivery basically for free a couple of days ago, which was great. And this was one of the things that I chose. I have already eaten like half of it in one sitting yesterday because it is so good. I also picked up some oat milk, and then with your first delivery you get a free thing of orange juice as well. So I know there's literally only the tiniest amount left in here, but I will be finishing that at some point today as well. I will leave the code in the description if you guys are interested. Again, not sponsored, but £5 worth of free shopping is pretty cool. I am going to be having that with this rather tragic looking avocado. I only opened this yesterday, but it already looks so gross. I mean, it wasn't perfect yesterday, it definitely wasn't ripe enough, but we're just going to work with what we've got. So I'm going to have this. I've got an equally as gross looking lime, and then I've got some tomatoes as well, and like salt, pepper, etc. So yeah, let's make some avocado toast. I have ended up having one slice of avocado on toast and then one slice of tomatoes on toast. This is just some cherry tomatoes sliced with olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder and some chili flakes. Had a similar sort of thing in Spain for breakfast of tomatoes on toast, although their tomatoes were not like sliced like this. It was kind of like a grated consistency, and I don't think it had the onion, garlic and chili flakes. But either way, I feel like I can get away with this being a breakfast food. I've had this all the time recently for lunch, and it is my newest obsession. Sort of like bruschetta, but I feel like it's missing some of the key parts of a bruschetta. It's definitely a lot less effort. So that is what I've got on one slice, and then this slice has just got all of the same seasonings as well as some lime juice. Did intend to have kind of avocado and tomatoes on both pieces, but I figured that the half an avocado wasn't going to spread across both, and I would rather have like one really good slice and then a slice of something else than two not so good slices, if that makes sense. So this is what I've ended up with for my lunch. I have also made myself a cup of tea. Don't really fancy a cup of tea right now, if I'm completely honest, but I figured I would stick to the whole breakfast thing, so this is what I'm having. Okay, so I have decided I'm going to make some cinnamon rolls as a little afternoon snack to have with my coffee. It is now like 4:30, and I feel like a hot cinnamon roll fresh from the oven would be so good right now. I really wanted to include some sort of breakfast pastry, like a croissant or pain au chocolat or something along those lines in this video, because I figured like breakfast pastries are quite a staple. But unfortunately in my last trip to the supermarket I didn't pick anything like that up, and I don't think croissants are considered an essential at this point, so I'm not going to be going to the supermarket just to get those. If you are wondering though, the Just Roll croissants and cinnamon rolls and pain au chocolats are all vegan, so definitely recommend those. They're like the ones that you make yourselves and then bake, and they are so good. So I wish I had some of those right now because they would be a whole lot easier. Instead, I've just found a random recipe from the internet. I will link it down below if it's any good. I basically just googled yeast-free cinnamon roll recipes because I have not been able to find yeast since this lockdown started, and it is so annoying. Literally it is sold out everywhere, so I'm hoping this recipe is good. It will probably be easier if it doesn't have yeast, to be honest. It isn't a vegan recipe, but it doesn't have eggs in, so I'm just swapping out the milk and the butter for like vegan milk and butter. And then the other swap that I'm making is the plain flour to bread flour because I don't have any plain flour and we're just going to make do. I'm also going to halve the recipe, I think, because I don't want like an excessive amount of cinnamon rolls, but that is what we're going to be making. I have just taken the cinnamon rolls out of the oven and this is what they look like. No idea if that's meant to happen with all of like the caramel stuff at the bottom. They definitely exploded in the oven, but I'm hoping they'll still taste good. I mean, definitely not the prettiest cinnamon rolls I've ever seen, but it smells amazing. So I'm gonna let these cool down for a few more minutes and then I'm gonna try one. I've got myself a cinnamon roll to try. I ended up not making myself a coffee in the end because it's now like 6 o'clock and I feel like that might just be a little bit too late for a coffee. I think I've done like everything late today. I had a late breakfast, a late lunch, and I was gonna have a late dinner, which was what was in my mind, but I've just realised that I've got a hangout call with some friends at 7, which means I need to eat this and then literally start making dinner so that it's ready in time. So I've just got myself a little cinnamon roll. I will have this and then hopefully I'll be able to have one for pudding as well. It is still so warm. That is so good. The dough especially is like so soft considering it doesn't have yeast in. I feel like if all of the filling hadn't come out into the bottom of the tray, it would be a lot more flavourful. But like the soft bit at the bottom where it was sitting in that caramel is like the best bit. I'm very impressed with these, and also it was really easy. The recipe did not take that long at all, so definitely recommend trying this out. I will leave a link in the description. It's going to be really hard to not just go and eat a few more of those, but I'm going to have to go crack on with dinner. Okay, so ignore the fact that my kitchen side looks pretty chaotic right now. I started prepping the stuff for the cooked breakfast while my camera was charging, but this is what I'm going to be having. I feel like cooked breakfasts, like roast dinners, are very particular with what people feel like needs to be on them. Like I feel like everyone has a set idea of what they need to have in a cooked breakfast for it to be like a proper cooked breakfast. So maybe let me know in a comment down below what would be in your like dream full English. I'm definitely having to make do a little bit with the stuff I've got going on here because this was very much a last minute decision. So I would have bought some things in if I knew I was going to be having this. Hash browns, for example, I feel like a cooked breakfast is just not right without hash browns. Like they are hands down the best bit for me, but I'm going to be making do with some fried potatoes. Was going to attempt to make my own hash browns, but I just don't have the time for that anymore. So these are what I'm going to be having instead. Got some mushrooms. These with hash browns are like my favourite part of a cooked breakfast. Got some sausages. So these are the Richmond ones, the meat-free sausages. They taste so realistic, it's kind of scary. So gonna be having those. I've got some tofu here for some tofu scramble. If I'm honest, I'm not like the biggest fan. I don't have like the black salt to make it taste really realistic like scrambled eggs. But I've got this tofu that needs using up, so I figured I would make some. Got some baked beans, again another essential for me in a cooked breakfast. Got some cherry tomatoes I'm going to cook up. Got some kale, which is pretty rogue. I don't think I've ever had kale in a cooked breakfast, but I figured that I might need some greens on this plate, so might cook up a little bit of that. I don't know, I'm going to see how I feel. Got the little bit of bread left over from earlier, and then in here it's just some tofu marinating. So I've got some paprika, liquid smoke, maple syrup, oil and soy sauce in here. This is going to be like my bacon alternative. Haven't made this before, but I'm just hoping for the best. I mean, it's not going to be anything like bacon, but it's going to be taking bacon's place on this meal. So this is everything that I'm going to be having. I'm going to start by throwing the potatoes in the microwave to soften up a little bit before I actually fry them, and then I will start cooking everything else. I feel like I was pretty poor with the filming of making this because I was trying to be quick to have it done before 7, but this is what my dinner looks like. So the scrambled tofu has got a little bit of turmeric in it just for the colour, and then onion and garlic powder. Also put the onion and garlic powder on the potatoes and cooked them in butter. That is just the tofu fried up, mushrooms, tomatoes, kale, sausages, and then beans with a slice of that toast. Looks like a pretty mammoth plate of food for someone who's not that hungry, but I'm definitely going to give it a good go with eating all of this. It has now been a few hours since I last filmed anything. I think I was chatting to my friends for like 3 hours or so, which was super lovely. I really enjoyed dinner. It was so good, but so filling. I particularly liked the tofu with like the paprika and maple syrup and stuff, like the bacon I made. Definitely recommend trying that if you haven't before, because I way preferred that over the scrambled tofu. I also had a cinnamon roll after dinner. Even though I was so full, I felt like I had to have one. And I've now brought the tray with the leftover ones to bed with me, because I figured they're going to taste better today than they are tomorrow, because they'll obviously be like fresher. So I feel like that's a good enough reason to try and eat as many of them as possible this evening. So I think I'm going to have one more cinnamon roll, and I'm also going to finish off the orange juice that I showed earlier, and those are going to be the last few bits that I have this evening. So I'm just going to end this video here. I know this hasn't really been that much of a challenge. It's kind of just been like a what I eat in a day, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, if you want to see like a week-long version, let me know. I feel like that might be slightly more challenging, but I also would be very willing to give it a go. So leave a comment down below if you'd like to see that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.